Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about protecting your work online. Towards the end of last year, I was very kindly invited by Ideas Powered to attend a day at the YouTube space in London, where I got to find out all about intellectual property, how to protect your intellectual property online, and I was really excited for this opportunity, mostly because I really wanted to bring the illustrator's perspective. As we all know, theft of artwork is rife online at the moment, and most illustrators, designers, makers have had this issue affect them at some point in their career. In this video, I want to share with you what I learnt by speaking with Ideas Powered and also an expert on copyright at Google. There are some steps you can take when you discover that your work has been stolen. I'm also going to discuss preventative measures that you can take to protect your work from being stolen in the first place, such as watermarking. I'm also going to be touching on the legal side of things, where you can go to find legal advice. But first, I wanted to share with you some of the frankly horrifying stories that you shared with me about your own experiences having work stolen and some of the repercussions, some of the outcomes of this. The first email that I wanted to share with you is a really interesting case. Illustrator had her work stolen by a fashion brand, and she actually was able to research and find out that they had previously stolen designs from another artist. So she was able to contact them, find out about their legal team and any legal action they took, and approach the fashion brand in the same way as previous artists had. The fashion brand agreed to pay out €15,000 in the end, which covered the sales, any leftover stock, and a continued license for her work. I thought this email would be a good one to start with because it does have a happy ending for the artist, and they were also kind enough to share with me some of their wisdom behind why they were able to get the outcome that they hoped for. Their first piece of advice would be not to name and shame right away. This gives you a bit of leverage to resolve things privately. They also mentioned building a clear case, getting all of the evidence that the work is yours before you go forward. Get legal advice and weigh up your options that you have. Get the balance between being polite but also assertive so they know that you will go forward with legal action should they ignore you. Now, I received a lot of messages from illustrators and artists who have had their work stolen by international companies. A lot of those companies are based in China, but that's not the only place, also India, Russia, and other areas in Asia. Although copyright laws of the place where the work was made will be enforced, it's often very hard to get through to these international companies. China, for example, their IP laws are actually very similar to those in the West. The only difference is they don't enforce these laws, which means that a lot of counterfeiting takes place. Sadly, the situation can look bleak for these kinds of things. You'll end up with huge legal fees and no guarantee that your case will be resolved. However, you shouldn't give up just yet because I have a couple of tricks that you can use to get the website to take down the copyrighted material. One of the easiest ways that you can take action is by filing a DMCA takedown request. Now, there is a link in the description to this video of all the different ways that you can file a DMCA, but I'm going to be specifically talking about filing a DMCA takedown request through Google. And what that means is that the page in question that has stolen your work will no longer be in Google search results, and it also has implications on the SEO of the entire site. If this seems a bit difficult, let me run you through it. Here I have a site that has stolen my work, granted quite old work from 2012, so I am going to file a Google DMCA takedown request. I will leave a link in the description of this video so you can go directly to the form that I'm going to be using with Google. So here you can see the website that has stolen my work. I'm going to copy the URL and then go over to the form to file my takedown. In this box, I am describing the work that has been stolen in simple terms, but in a way that Google can identify the work in question. In this box, I include two links, one to my blog and one to my website, which proves that the image in question belongs to me. Tick all the relevant boxes, sign and date the form, and wait to hear back from Google. So, what are some of the preventative measures that you can take to protect your work online? The obvious two are to not upload high resolution images to the internet, and the other one would be watermarking. They're both very commonly suggested and both offer quite mixed results. As a lot of you will know, even if you upload low resolution images to the internet, often they will still be sold and printed on phone cases, apparel, keychains, pin badges, lots of different things. There are businesses out there that don't care about the quality of what they're producing, and they're more than happy to steal a low res image and make it work. Similarly, watermarking doesn't always offer the best results. For example, a watermark can easily be photoshopped out of an image, and another main reason a lot of artists don't use it, and me in particular, I've never watermarked my work, is because I think it really detracts from the image, and I've never really seen a watermark add anything to an image. And when you are trying to attract clients that will hopefully hire you, you need to have your work looking as pristine as possible, and you don't want anything to detract from the quality of your work. It's something that you have to weigh up. For me, I would rather take the risk of my work being stolen, but also having more interest from clients and therefore being able to earn a decent living as an illustrator, rather than having all of my work watermarked, which might deter clients from hiring me if the watermark covers or detracts from the image, which it would kind of need to, because if you have a small little watermark in the corner of your image, it can very easily be photoshopped out. So you would need to have a watermark that covers a lot of the image. So yeah. It's up to you whether you decide to go down that route, but for me personally, it's not really a solution. To be honest, the day that I had in London in the YouTube space was mostly helpful in terms of what you can do once you find that your work has been stolen. There are some steps that you can take that should hopefully get the thieves to take down the work as soon as possible. The very first thing that you should try is contacting the individual or business that has stolen your work, and I think the way in which you do that is really important. It's important to come across calm and collected in your email, use professional language, and also include evidence that shows that it is your own work that they have stolen. Some advice that I got on the day in the YouTube space that really made a lot of sense was to make sure you are dating all of your work, and you are also recording some of the work in progress, just to show that you are the maker behind it. This is where social media can be really helpful. It was suggested that you might want to start a private Instagram account, for example, where you upload posts that show the work in progress or the ideas stage even, and obviously every post that you make has a date attached to it. When it comes to if it comes to the stage where your work has been stolen, you can share those posts in the email to the thief or the thieves and prove that you worked on this piece of artwork on this date and you have work in progress shots. When I reached out to all of you to ask for your stories on having your work stolen, a fair few of you said that you mentioned a lawyer in your email, and I think that this can be a really great thing to do. A lot of companies don't want to deal with the legal side of things, and they probably know by this stage, having been contacted by you, the owner of the work, that they are breaching copyright laws. Even mentioning that can be a good deterrent and an end to the situation. Another foolproof way to date your work and to show evidence of when the work was made is to post the artwork to yourself. This is what artists have been doing for years to keep a really reliable record of when the work was made. When the work arrives at your door, it will be dated over the stamp, and that is a good way of recording when your work was actually produced. There have been some quite high-profile cases of illustrators and designers having their work ripped off by high street brands and fast fashion brands. These events have gone public, which is why sometimes social media can be seen as a really great tool for empowering artists. When you're just an individual and you find that a big brand has stolen your work, you can feel fairly powerless, and by sharing what has happened online, you will often find that this gets supported by fellow creatives and shared around the internet, and it definitely does make the brand in question look bad, and is bad press for them. Quite a well-known example of this is when Tuesday Bassin had quite a lot of her work stolen by Zara. She went very public about this, and she also publicly posted Zara's replies. I don't actually think she had any resolution to this, which is a real shame, but it does make Zara look pretty bad as a company. However, my personal opinion on naming and shaming on social media is that you should probably err on the side of caution. For me personally, I wouldn't want to instantly make these dramas and these issues of having my work stolen public. It's just not a pleasant experience to be tied up in a very public dispute. I would definitely recommend contacting the brand privately first and see what can be done behind the scenes. Oftentimes you will find that they don't want to be involved in public scrutiny and they will settle privately. Admittedly, there's still a lot that needs to be done in this area, and there are still a lot of ways that freelancers are vulnerable to this kind of theft of your intellectual property. There is a big risk when you're sharing your work online, and I do think it's really important that illustrators fight back against this, and unfortunately will have to use their time, their precious time, to fight these legal cases. I'm going to leave in the description any links to really important resources where you can find legal advice and information on intellectual property and what you can do to protect it. I'd be really interested in hearing from you, especially if you have taken legal advice and you can recommend a really great lawyer or legal team who you worked with. You will find that there are legal teams out there that specialise in this kind of situation, but of course it can be expensive and it's a really not ideal situation to be in when you've done nothing wrong. So yeah, there's no perfect solution to this kind of thing. I just think it's important that we stick together and that we continue to fight back against art theft, and that we take our work seriously. We take preventative measures to record what we're producing and creating, and that we are able to be assertive when we contact these thieves, and that we have the confidence to do so. So I really hope you found this video helpful. If you are new here, please subscribe. I make lots of videos on advice for illustrators, and I will see you again very soon for another video. Bye!